So I am joined today with Sherry Peel Jackson. Pronounce that correctly?
That's right.
Okay. She was a former IRS agent who tried to prove that the income tax was not a fraud. I guess, is that the...
That it's being misrepresented and misapplied to the American people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So? How is the income tax being misapplied?
It's a long story, but the long and short of it is we don't have income. Corporations have income. So they're the ones that are supposed to pay the tax after their expenses. If I come and cut your grass and you promise to pay me $100, I've used my arms, my legs, and my brain to properly cut your grass, and you give me $100. That's an even exchange.
Yep.
When Walmart makes $100, let's say $1,000 in 15 seconds, they have expenses. They have employees, they have
Trucks,
electricity and rent and all that.
Right.
And let's say out of that $1,000, they have $200 left over. They pay tax on the $200. That's profit. That's corporate profit.
Okay, so as if the corporations have to pay income tax.
Right, right. There is no definition of income in the Internal Revenue Code.
So income is income?
Income is corporate profit.
Income is corporate profits. Interesting. So my understanding is that you had a trial and you went to jail or
prison. Right.
To prison.
So me and some other former IRS agents were traveling around explaining what we learned. We didn't tell anybody what to do, to file or not to file, to pay or not to pay. We just told people to do some research and discover the truth. Then Aaron Russo made the director that made Trading Places and The Rose with Bette Midler.
I'm very familiar with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He did America, Freedom to Fascism. That's still out online on the internet.
I'll find a link in the description. It's a really great video.
Yeah.
Really great documentary.
Right. So a lot of us got together and did that. Former FBI agent Ron Paul was in it. Of course, the great Ed Griffin was in it, and some constitutional lawyers and attorneys. Government got angry that this movie was going around. How dare they go and tell the people? Because our money is their power.
Right.
So they started prosecuting people. They prosecuted Joe Bannister, and he actually won his case because he had a thinking jury and because he got a chance to present his case.
That's difficult sometimes to get a thinking jury, so it's...
Well, you know what? He got to present the things that they needed to see. But just like a football team that loses on Sunday to a team that's not so good, first thing Monday morning, they're going to go and look at the tape, right?
Right.
I think that's how they do it anyway.
Sure.
So they looked at their mistakes, and by the time they got to my prosecution, first of all, they sent people from Washington to prosecute me. Then
people that are employed by the federal government.
Well, not just the Atlanta people, but they were serious about making sure that another former IRS agent was not acquitted, and did not get a chance to present the information, like the videos that I had done, and some other information about Supreme Court cases. The judge shut me down and said, "I will instruct the jury on the law." Well, that was what all this was about. So at least let me tell my version of what I believe the law is, and let them know that I do have a version. Well, anyway, it was a kangaroo court. The charge was a misdemeanor, but they gave me a 4-year sentence on a misdemeanor. Unprecedented.
That should be, as a misdemeanor, I thought it's a year in jail or year.
Yes.
Maximum. They should be.
Yes. It's a year or less in prison. You're exactly right about that. But just because the law says it doesn't mean that's what they're going to do. And that's the whole crux of this thing. It doesn't matter.
So you've upset a lot of powerful people.
Yeah, I have, because I had 9 letters behind my name, not including ex-IRS agents. So it was a punishment for me. And out of that 4 years, everybody, I'm an only child. I was homeschooling my kids, all that. So out of that 4 years, I served 3 years. They had to give me 6 months good time because I didn't get in trouble. And they had to give me 6 months halfway house. So 3 out of a 4-year sentence on a misdemeanor was what I paid for asking questions. We actually went to Washington asking the Congress questions. I had on stilettos going door to door to the congressmen and senators. And the response that we got was, "Thank you for visiting Washington. The next time you come to Washington, please visit us again."
Right. Well, the question I have is, as an individual, there's the Fifth Amendment. How can you sign a document stating your income without waiving your Fifth Amendment rights? I don't think you can.
Right. But again, the W-2, people don't realize the W-2, when a company issues a person a W-2, it's like a sworn affidavit that you receive taxable income, and they expect money from it. So the best way to get around that is to divest yourself from the corporations and the banksters, and all those people.
Start your own.
That's what I preach right now. Because so many people are afraid to challenge the IRS in the way that I did, and I don't even recommend that.
Yeah, I've had an individual who, put a full page, a friend of mine, Larkin Rose, he put a full page ad in his local paper and said he's not filing a tax return. I think that's a bad idea to do.
Well, Larkin and I were communicating frequently, and of course he went to prison also. So it's if you do it the way Donald Trump does, because when Hillary said Donald Trump didn't pay his taxes, I don't have a problem with it. He's the president, so it's less money for him to build a wall or bomb somebody. Right. Well, the corporations get a chance to deduct ordinary and necessary business expenses.
Right.
So when you start your own business, you can also deduct things that you're already paying for, like cell phones, internet, all that. And that's what I teach people.
So what are your books that you have?
Well, the first one I have is How to Escape the Rat Race: 4 Keys to Acquire the Life of Your Dreams. This is telling people how to get out of debt, because we weren't taught financial literacy at all. Even in Georgia, where I live, the children still aren't learning how to balance a checkbook. So we're not taught financial literacy, and this is teaching them how to get out of debt, how to start businesses, how to save, how to invest, all of that. And then teach them how to save the money and invest the money that they're making in their business. My second book is my flagship book, How to Stick It to the IRS: Confessions from a Former Insider. They stuck it to me, so I need to teach people how to get around an audit, how to operate with the IRS, and learn the tricks that they play on people, because they thrive on auditing small businesses. They let the corporations get away with murder, but they thrive on small businesses. So this is basically for individuals and small business owners.
So like General Electric, I hear they had so many deductions that they didn't pay any.
Isn't that phenomenal?
I'm not complaining about it. I think it's a wonderful thing, because I think they do a lot of bad things with the money that they get. But they also get subsidized a lot too.
Right.
So it's
right. It's all about the corporations, and forget about the little guy. And it's always been that way. It doesn't matter whether your race, whether your color, whether your religion. It doesn't matter. They care about keeping the money up there and keeping us as slaves. So this helps people break out of that slavery.
I thought slavery was supposed to end.
It never did. It never did. It just included a whole bunch more people than it originally did. So yeah.
That's a little depressing, unfortunately, but there's a lot of truth to it.
Yeah.
If someone wants to learn more, how can they find more about you?
Well, I have a website, spjacksonconsulting.com. They can get the books from there, and they can find out how to get me in there. I like doing workshops, so I go around the country doing workshops. They can find out how to get me to a city where I do a half-day workshop. I was doing all-day workshops, but they said that was too much information for them to hold. And I do those, and I do consulting. I help people with IRS problems, and I help people start home-based businesses. I've had to go from prison, from 0 to 6 figures, and I know how to do that, so I teach people how to do that.
Well, that's a good thing. So, thank you very much for joining me today.
You're quite welcome.
You have a wonderful day.
All righty.